It was a foggy night in Hopewell, New Jersey, when a single, chilling discovery would open one of the most notorious criminal mysteries of the 20th century. On March 1, 1932, Charles and Anne Morrow Lindbergh's 20-month-old son, Charles Jr., vanished from their second-floor nursery. A crude ladder leaned against the house. A ransom note demanding $50,000 lay on a windowsill. The country watched a private tragedy become a public obsession. Context sharpened the tension. Lindbergh was the world's most famous pilot, an American hero who had crossed the Atlantic alone. The United States was in the depths of the Depression. Newspapers hungry for headlines turned the disappearance into a rolling drama. Police scoured the estate. Neighbors were questioned. The first ransom note was followed by more, bizarrely earnest, sometimes insulting. Lindbergh negotiated, and at his direction, a payment of marked bills was delivered in a Bronx cemetery in April. The trail should have ended there. Instead, it widened into questions that would haunt investigators for years. On May 12, 1932, a truck driver found a small body in a shallow grave in a wood 4 miles from the Lindbergh home. Forensic examination showed severe skull fractures and evidence of possible choking. The child was dead. Grief turned public outrage into the demand for justice. Federal investigators, newly empowered by Congress's Federal Kidnapping Act, passed in direct response to the case and commonly called the Lindbergh Law, cooperated with state and local police to chase leads. The breakthrough came 2 years later. In September 1934, authorities arrested Bruno Richard Hauptmann, a German immigrant living in the Bronx. Investigators claimed to have traced marked ransom bills to him. $14,600 of the ransom was found in his garage. The prosecution assembled a case built on 3 pillars: the marked money, a handwriting analysis linking Hauptmann to the ransom notes, and wood from the kidnap ladder that experts said matched lumber in Hauptmann's attic. In January 1935, after a sensational trial that transfixed the nation, Hauptmann was convicted of murder and kidnapping. He maintained his innocence to the end and was executed in New Jersey in April 1936. But the story did not end at the electric chair. Conspiracy and controversy threaded through the case from the start. Critics pointed to shoddy police work and tunnel vision. Leads pointing to other suspects were dismissed. Witnesses later recanted or contradicted one another. Some historians argue that xenophobia and the Lindbergh's celebrity created a pressure cooker in which a convenient defendant could be framed. Others note inconsistencies in the latter evidence and the shaky science of handwriting analysis of the era. The allegation that police or reporters planted ransom money to secure an arrest has never been definitively proved, but it fueled a persistent alternative narrative that Hauptmann was either a small accomplice scapegoated to satisfy a frantic public or entirely innocent. Another thread of conspiracy theory centers on the possibility of more than one kidnapper and a cover-up. The ladder itself, its craftsmanship and origin, the timing of the abduction, and the Lindbergh household security arrangements have prompted speculation that persons with knowledge of the family's routines were involved. Some suspect local criminals, others point to transient laborers or even elements within law enforcement who mismanaged evidence. What is undeniable is the case's broad impact. The Lindbergh kidnapping reshaped American law enforcement, helped consolidate federal jurisdiction over interstate abductions, and exposed the lethal power of media spectacle. It left the Lindberghs scarred. Charles never again fully reclaimed public life, and the family retreated from America for years. Bruno Richard Hauptmann's conviction remains debated. For some, the evidence was proof beyond doubt. For others, it was a convenient narrative to close a case that had shaken a nation. In the end, the Lindbergh case is a study in how celebrity, public fear, investigative urgency, and imperfect forensics combined to produce both conviction and doubt. The tiny body buried in an anonymous New Jersey wood answered none of the questions about motive or accomplices. Today, nearly a century later, the kidnapping still reads like a courtroom drama and a cautionary tale, proof that some crimes, even when legally closed, leave questions whose echoes refuse to die.